Well, first, thank you for coming this afternoon. And even though it's 6 days before Halloween, we have the Republicans up to their usual tricks of innuendo and slander. This latest ad by the Republican Governors Association in support of Governor Carcieri is a further example of what the Republicans in Washington will do with Karl Rove and their supporters here in Rhode Island, Don Carcieri, to win an election at any cost. This ad repeats statements which are absolutely false and untrue, which question my integrity, which demonstrate a close tie between George Bush and Don Carcieri with these ads in support of him, and which do nothing to talk about the issues of concern to the people of our state. And it's a shame that in the last 2 weeks of this election, it comes to this from a governor and a party that said they were going to take the high road and be positive. The suggestion that I would write a bill that gave a loophole to John Salona is not only outrageous, it's flat out untrue. We worked on that bill with common cause and it provided greater disclosure. The governor knows that. I challenged him on that, and yet his friends in Washington still make the same claim. And when it comes to financial contributions, when individuals have been under any question in this race for governor, I've returned those contributions in a preemptive way. And I would gladly match my contributions to those of the governor any day. The Carcieri administration has accepted contributions from vendors, lawyers, lobbyists, people that do business with the state of Rhode Island. If you look at the appointments that Governor Carcieri has made as governor to boards and commissions, nearly 1 out of every 4 appointments that he's made has gone to a contributor. And in fact, his chair of his campaign is responsible for appointments to boards and commissions. I think this governor has a lot more explaining to do about his ethics problems. He's the first governor since Ed Dupree to be fined by the Ethics Commission twice, and he and his campaign are under investigation right now for illegally soliciting state employees, one at his place of work. And today, we found out from our state party chair, Bill Lynch, that the solicitations still continue in letter form, and shortly after the last outrage was developed, through robocalls to a professor at CCRI who reminisced that it reminded him of the Cianci years. So I think this administration, these Republicans, need to clean their own house, get their own act together, talk about the issues. This nonsense is not going to fool the people of our state of Rhode Island. It's this kind of negative personal attack that turns people off to government service, and it's a reflection on the Republicans and on Governor Carcieri himself.
And yet they work, these ads.
I don't think they work, Steve. You underestimate the intelligence of the people of Rhode Island. I'm proud to have served as Lieutenant Governor for 8 years, and I've developed a reputation for integrity and hard work. I have not had one ethics complaint filed against me at all. I've disclosed my full assets and income. And when people who have given to me have subsequently had trouble, I've returned those contributions, not because I was asked to, but because that's the standard I set for this office and for government in general. As people know me, they know my record. They're not going to be fooled by this nonsense. But it's a shame that with 13 days to go, the airways have to be cluttered with the special interest money from Washington, D.C., promoting these outrageous stories, this innuendo, from a candidate in the campaign that claims to take the high road all the time. It's a reflection, in my judgment, of the double standard we've seen from this governor and this administration.
Is anybody going to pay attention to this when one campaign starts talking about the ads from the other campaign,
Jim,
and he responds to your commercial with a TV commercial, and you respond to that with a commercial that shuts his commercial off? Don't people eventually say, you know, forget all this,
Jim,
this is why I'm not voting?
What people want is to talk about the issues. And I've talked about those issues in my ads and in my statements about government reform and ethics, about healthcare, about higher education. I'm not going to allow my reputation and good name to be besmirched by this governor. And I will fight back strongly, just as I'll fight for the people of Rhode Island as their governor. There's a difference between disagreeing on issues and records and votes and being passionate about your beliefs. People expect that. But negative personal attacks and innuendo and associations which are flat out untrue have no place in politics. And Governor Carcieri should know that. He should know that. Because just about a year ago, he was subject to some outrageous charges as well. And when those developed publicly, I condemned them, and I called the governor personally to let him know that I thought they were outrageous.
You sound angry.
I am. Steve, this is a race for governor. This is the leader of our state who's going to be entrusted with the future of 1 million Rhode Islanders for the next 4 years. The people want to know what are we doing on health care. There's 120,000 people that don't have health care. It's almost doubled under this governor. I've talked about how we're going to get there, and he's dismissed it. There's 32,000 Rhode Islanders that don't have a job right now that are looking for work, highest unemployment rate in New England. And he's told everybody the employment is full. People don't have the ability to send their kids to college. And he's not talking about any of these issues. He's personally attacking me, misrepresenting the facts, and not only is he doing it himself, but his buddies, the Republican governors, with his good friend Mitt Romney, are coming in spending hundreds of thousands of dollars polluting the airwaves on this stuff. That's insulting to me, it's insulting to the people of Rhode Island.
Yesterday when Charles Schumer was here, campaigning on behalf of Sheldon Whitehouse, Whitehouse said he felt it was a mistake that in years past, he pointed to some of his past campaigns, that he didn't hit back when attacks of this sort were made. Do you feel, is this a concerted effort by Democrats to fight back against these?
I don't know if it's a concerted effort by Democrats, but Steve, one thing is for sure. I'm not going to let anybody, Don Kachiri, Karl Rove, or the boys from Washington, in any way besmirch my name and my reputation. I've worked too hard. I love public service. I'm proud of my record and what I've done. And I'm proud of the fact that the people of Rhode Island have elected me to office statewide twice. And I want to be their governor on the right things. And when people make up stories, when they get the facts wrong, when they misrepresent, when they do innuendo, when they try to swift vote, I'm not going to stand by for it. I am going to fight back.
You mentioned Karl Rove. Do you feel there is that degree of coordination here?
There absolutely is. There is no question about it. These Republicans, whenever they're in trouble nationally, do this same thing. So in one way, I guess
that is a pattern. Do you have some connection? Do you have
there's a pattern. And in fact, in some ways, I'm a little flattered. The fact that they're doing this now tells me that they're worried about this race, that they know it's competitive. Because a governor who's confident, who has the knowledge that he has a plan for the future and that feels that people support him, wouldn't be resorting to these dirty tricks and these negative campaigns. So the fact that they're doing this now with the support from Washington tells me they know he's in trouble, and with good reason. But in every state, whether it's in the senatorial races in Tennessee or in everywhere else, even up in Massachusetts, you look at the negative campaigning up there that's going on with Kerry Healy and so forth, they will resort to whatever tactics and tricks they have to try to bring the level of discourse in this campaign down. They've gotten away with it in the past, they're not getting away with it this year. And we're going to bring this to their attention, and we're going to hold people accountable.
Do you have Karl Rove's fingerprints somewhere, or is it this is like what the rest of they did? That's not quite it. Do you have evidence that ties the...
I have not seen Karl Rove in Rhode Island, but I have seen his ugly work in our state, and it speaks for itself.
Governor, do you think the current governor's connections to Washington are a topic that should be coming up in commercials? I mean, I know there's been some talk past couple days about your commercial questioning him on his Iraq policy.
It's not just the Iraq policy, Mark, absolutely. I mean, who we support and what we do to stand up for Rhode Island. As governor of Rhode Island, you're not just here to manage state government and do what's best for the people of our state. You're here to stand up and fight for Rhode Island and Washington, where so many decisions are made that impact our state. As governor, one of the important responsibilities you have is commander-in-chief of the National Guard. We have hundreds of men and women now overseas in battle because of the actions of this administration. And you're damn right as commander-in-chief, I'm going to make sure that the administration, when they commit our troops, make sure they have the support that they need. That it's not mismanaged as it has been by Donald Rumsfeld. I'm not going to be a quiet little mouse sitting in the back of governors' meetings in Washington going along with George Bush. And when they put forward policies on Medicare and Medicaid that hurt Rhode Island and cut our dollars, I'm not going to sit quietly by and say, oh well, there's nothing I can do. And when they talk about No Child Left Behind and all these wonderful, grandiose plans, and they don't give us the funding and we're left with the responsibility, I am going to speak out. That's what any responsible governor would do. This governor has no problem going to the White House champagne receptions down there, but we've heard very little of him standing up to George Bush and the policies that are hurting us here in Rhode Island. That's what a governor has to do, not only manage things here at home, but make sure that our voice is well represented in Washington on issues that are state government. Those are issues of concern to Rhode Islanders.
What had been on the agenda for today before this ad came up?
Well, I've been traveling around the state.
No, I mean for today. What had the plan been for today before you chose? I mean, you must have had something going on today to...